So far, we've read in data and done some computation with it. The results are still just numbers though, and the numbers in an array or table are hard to interpret, and it's not easy to tell whether something is increasing, decreasing, or staying constant just by looking at the values. Plotting solves that. It converts the numbers into a graph where trends and patterns are immediately visible. In this video, we'll use matplotlib, the standard plotting library in Python, to help us visualize data. We'll start with a single line plot, then add labels, multiple series, and a legend, and finish by arranging several plots together in one figure. First, let's talk a bit about the library that we're using, matplotlib, specifically a module called pyplot that's a part of it. It provides the plotting commands such as creating a figure, drawing data, adding labels, and so on. The name is a clue to where it came from. Matplotlib was originally built to give Python a plotting interface similar to MATLAB's. And pyplot in particular mirrors MATLAB's command style, which is why plotting in Python can feel familiar if you've used MATLAB before. So let's start off by importing matplotlib, pandas, and numpy. That first import is a little different from the ones we've seen. Instead of importing all of matplotlib, we import just the pyplot module under the conventional alias plt. This is the same idea as what we did for pandas and numpy, and we did again here, pd and np. We bring in pandas and numpy since we're going to be plotting the data we read last video. We'll load the same measurements file from the last video and pull out the columns that we want to use. So here we've done the same thing that we did in the previous video with the same pandas to numpy kind of format. So we'll read the file into a data frame, df in this case, and convert the whole thing into a numpy array and just call it data. Then pull out each column by its index. And remember, Python arrays are zero indexed. So the first column is the 0th column, and that is day, and then temperature, and then humidity. And we can look at that in the file that we used last time. So the first column is day, second column is temperature, and the third column is humidity, but we use zero indexing. So now we have 3 one-dimensional arrays, that is day, temperature, and humidity, and they're ready to plot. So we'll start off with a simple line plot. So this is the temperature against day plot. So that means that there's temperature on the y-axis and day on the x-axis. Let's go through each of these lines that I just typed out. PLT figure creates a new empty figure. So this is the blank canvas everything gets drawn onto. PLT plot draws the data, and the first argument in PLT plot is day, and the second argument is temperatures. The first argument is x-axis, and the second argument is the y-axis. And PLT show displays the figure. A quick note on PLT show. In Spider and Jupyter, figures often show up on their own without an explicit PLT show call. So you'll see it left out in some code. It's still good practice to include it, so if you don't have to worry about that problem if you're not working in Spider and you're working in a different IDE. So here we have the plot in the plots pane. So the plot works, but it's unlabeled. Nothing tells you what these axes represent. An unlabeled plot is hard for anyone else to read, and it might not mean much to you either once you've forgotten the context. So let's add some labels and a title. So now we have an updated plot in the plots pane. PLT X label and PLT Y label set the axis labels. PLT grid adds grid lines, and PLT title sets the heading. Notice the structure. So we create a figure, Then we add the plots, we add the data, then run a series of commands that each add one element. In this case, they're labels, a title, and a grid. Also note that we never specified a color or a line style for the plot itself. Matplotlib chose a default solid blue line, and without a marker argument, there are no markers for the data points. So this is the basic template for a matplotlib plot. You create a figure, plot the data, add labels and a title, and then call plt show. Another way to add grid lines is to say plt grid and then say true internally, and it'll give you the same output. So moving on to the next block of code, we're going to learn how to compare two quantities on the same plot. To do that, we can plot data on the same axis and see how these two quantities differ. So let's put temperature and humidity together. So we'll start off by getting a figure and then let's add some labels for our x and y axis. We can add a grid, a title, and then we will also add a legend. And then let's talk a bit about what's going on here. So looking at the plot that was just generated, there are two traces on the plot now, and matplotlib gave them distinct colors automatically. To tell which is which, we use a legend, and that takes two things working together. So first, each plt plot call includes a label argument that gets passed, naming that series. Second, plt legend is also called, which collects those labels and draws the key that you see in this corner over here. So you need both the labels naming each series and then the single legend call that displays them. By default, matplotlib decides where to put the legend for you. It looks for the spot where it blocks the least data. Usually that's fine, but sometimes it lands right on top of your lines and you want to move it. That's where the lock parameter comes in. So let's try to change the location of the key using the lock parameter. So now the legend sits in the upper left corner, which is what we gave the lock parameter. The options are what you'd expect. So you can say upper right, lower left, center, and so on. And if you leave lock out entirely, you get the default, which matplotlib calls best. It picks the least crowded corner for you. So you only reach for lock when the automatic choice gets in the way. Next, we're going to learn how to set axis limits. By default, matplotlib picks the axis range from the data. You can also set it yourself to start the y-axis at 0 or to zoom in at a particular interval. So let's once again declare a figure and then we'll plot temperature. Then let's add some axis limits. So a few things to note here. plt xlim sets the x-axis limits, and that's from 1 to 7 in this case, so 1 to 7. And then plt ylim sets the y-axis range, and in this case, that is 0 to 30. The figure now shows exactly the window of data that we asked for. This matters more than it looks. Starting the y-axis at 0 versus letting it scale to just the data can change how dramatic a trend appears. So choosing your limits deliberately is part of presenting data effectively. Now note the third argument in our plot call. That's a shorthand for styling the line, and it packs three things into one short string. The B is the color blue, which is what the color of our plot is now. O is the marker, so a circle at each data point. And the dash is the line style, which is a solid line connecting each data point. So BO dash would mean blue circles joined by a solid blue line. That's what the plot shows now. So you can mix and match. And here I have a slide that talks a little bit about a few options and some examples. So R dash dash is a red dashed line with no markers. G caret is green triangles with no connecting lines in between them. And then K, S dash is black squares on a dashed black line, and then so on. Alternatively, you could also spell these out as keyword arguments instead. So you could say color equals red, or line style equals dash dash, and so on, which is a little bit more verbose, but sometimes more readable and easier to remember than the letter codes. So choose whichever works better for you. There's a full table of color, marker, and line style codes, and I've linked the datasheet and the documentation for that in the description. The last topic for this video is arranging several plots inside one figure, and that's done using subplots. So we'll put the temperature data above a sine wave to show two independent plots in one figure. So look at the subplot line over here. The key command is plt subplot, and it takes three numbers. The first one is the number of rows, the second one is the number of columns, and then the third one is which panel we're drawing on. So plt subplot 211 means a grid of 2 rows and 1 column, but give me the first panel to draw on. From here, every plt plot, plt title, and plt y label applies to that panel. And these are exactly the same commands that we've been using all along. This is our top plot. Let's also quickly add in our bottom panel, our second panel, and draw a trace on it. So look at the subplot command now. It's the same grid as before, so it's 2 rows and 1 column, but now the third number is 2. So we're calling the second panel of the plot to draw on. Calling plt subplot again just moves us to a different panel, and the plotting commands underneath it are the same as before, except this time we're plotting a sine wave. And then finally, let's add plt tight layout and plt show. So plt tight layout adjusts the spacing so the two plots and their labels don't overlap. The result is two independent plots in one figure. So temperature on top and the sine wave at the bottom. That's what we get here. So that's the pattern for subplots. Call plt subplot with your grid and then the panel that you want, then plot on it as normal. Switch panels by calling plt subplot again with a different index in the third argument. The same approach extends to any grid. And here, for example, we have plt subplot 2, 2, 1 through 2, 2, 4, which gives you a 2 by 2 grid of 4 plots, and then you can move through them using the third argument, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So recap, matplotlib through its pyplot module, aliased as plt, turns arrays into figures. The core sequence of using matplotlib is plt figure, plt plot, and plt show. On top of that, there's X labels, Y labels, and a title to label it, plus a legend to tell multiple series apart. X limit and Y limit, or X lim and Y lim, to set the axis ranges, and subplots to arrange several plots in one figure. And remember, plt show, it's easy to leave out when your editor shows figures automatically, but it's the reason a figure might fail to appear somewhere else if you're not using Spider or Jupyter Notebook. You can now set up an environment, write Python, do the math with NumPy, read with pandas, and visualize it with matplotlib.